Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamati Jaya Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhaktaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakter Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, a description of the island of Jambudvip. Text number 5 onwards. So Hanumanji is offering his prayers to Lord Ram. Martyavtarastvih martya shikshanam raksho vadhaye na kevalam vidho uto anyatha syadaramatah swatmanah sita kritani vyasanani ishvarasya. It was ordained that Ravan, chief of the Rakshasas, could not be killed by anyone but a man. And for this reason, Lord Ramchandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared in the form of a human being. Lord Ramchandra's mission, however, was not only to kill Ravan, but also to teach mortal beings that material happiness centered around sex life or centered around one's wife is a cause of many miseries. He is a self-sufficient Supreme Personality of Godhead, and nothing is lamentable for him. Therefore, why else could he be subjected to tribulations by the kidnapping of Mother Sita? When the Lord appears in this universe in the form of a human being, he has two purposes, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. To destroy the demons and protect the devotees. To protect the devotees, the Lord not only satisfies them by his personal presence, but also teaches them so that they will not fall down from devotional service. By his personal example, Lord Ramchandra taught the devotees that it is better not to enter married life, which is certainly followed by many tribulations. Of course, Krishna also married, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also a Grihastha before he took sannyas. So there are many problems, but there are problems in every ashram. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kripans, those who are not advanced in spiritual knowledge and who are therefore just the opposite of Brahmans, generally take to family life, which is a concession for sex. Thus they enjoy sex again and again, although that sex is followed by many tribulations. This is a warning to devotees, to teach this lesson to devotees and to human society in general. Lord Sri Ramchandra, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, underwent a series of tribulations because he accepted a wife, Mother Sita. Lord Ramchandra underwent these austerities, of course, only to instruct us. Actually, he never has any reason to lament for anything. Of course, for Lord Ram, it's all pastimes. And Sita was never kidnapped by Ravan. It was only Maya Sita was taken by Ravan. But anyway, to teach everybody a lesson, to annihilate the whole dynasty of Rakshasas, Ram performed all these pastimes. Another aspect of the Lord's instructions is that one who accepts a wife must be a faithful husband and give her full protection. Human society is divided into two classes of men, those who strictly follow the religious principles and those who are devotees. By his personal example, Lord Ramchandra wanted to instruct both of them how to fully adopt the discipline of the religious system and how to be a beloved and dutiful husband. Here, Prabhupada says human society is divided into two classes of men, those who strictly follow the religious principles and those who are devotees. That's, I don't know why Prabhupada said that. Bhagavad Gita says either demoniac or divine. There are two classes of men. So, anyway, going further, so by his personal example, Lord Ramchandra wanted to instruct both of them how to fully adopt the discipline of the religious system and how to be a beloved and dutiful husband. Otherwise, he had no reason to undergo apparent tribulation. One who strictly follows religious principles must not neglect to provide all facilities for the complete protection of his wife. There may be some suffering because of this, but one must nevertheless endure it. That is the duty of a faithful husband. By his personal example, Lord Ramchandra demonstrated this duty. So, following the religious principles of a Kshatriya and a king, and at that time he was in the forest, still he tried to provide complete protection to Mother Sita, and after Sita was kidnapped, he rescued her. And in the process, he killed all the Rakshas dynasty. By his personal example, Lord Ramchandra demonstrated this duty. Lord Ramchandra could have produced hundreds and thousands of Sitas from his pleasure energy, but just to show the duty of a faithful husband, he not only rescued Sita from the hands of Ravan, but also killed Ravan and all the members of his family. Yeah, Prabhupada said, Lord Ram could have produced hundreds and thousands of Sitas. He was fully capable of. Okay, one Sita is gone, fine, I can produce thousands of them. But no, he was a faithful husband. And he set an example for all of us to follow how to be a faithful husband. And he rescued Sita. Another aspect of the teachings of Lord Ramchandra is that although Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his devotees may apparently suffer from material tribulations, they have nothing to do with such tribulation. They are Mukta Purushas, liberated persons under all circumstances. It is therefore said in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Yat Dekha Vaishnavera Vivara Dukha Nishchaya Janya Tatha Taha Paramananda Sukha. A Vaishnava is always firmly situated in transcendental bliss because of engagement in devotional service. Although he may appear to suffer material pains, his position is called transcendental bliss in separation. The emotions a lover and beloved feel when separated from one another are actually very blissful, although apparently painful. Therefore, the separation of Lord Ramchandra from Sita Devi, as well as the consequent tribulation they suffered, is but another display of transcendental bliss. That is the opinion of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So this point, Prabhupada he just touched it here. He didn't want to go in too much detail. Why? Because we are not ready to understand this deep philosophy. And actually, this is the core philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, actually. Core philosophy. This is the center. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what was his mood? Mahaprabhu's mood is, we say, okay, he's Krishna, but in the mood of Srimati Radharani. But what mood of Srimati Radharani? That is important to understand. And the mood of Srimati Radharani is of separation. Especially that mood when she developed when Krishna left Vrindavan and went to Mathura and then Dwarka. In complete separation. Why in separation? And this is what Prabhupada is explaining. The emotions a lover and beloved feel when separated from one another are actually very blissful, although apparently painful. This mood This philosophy nobody has ever given except Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his following acharyas or his followers, especially six Goswamis and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baldev Vidyabhushan, and other acharyas. This mode of separation, because it just takes the mood, because the person who is in separation, like Srimati Radharani, we can only try to understand actually this theoretically. It's way beyond our realization aspect. So when Srimati Radharani was in separation from Krishna, she could not think of anything but Krishna. So in a way, because the thoughts of Krishna are non-different from Krishna, Krishna was always with Srimati Radharani. Always. Now, when they would do pastimes before Krishna left Vrindavan, then Krishna would be physically be with Srimati Radharani for a while, and then he had to go take care of other devotees and be with Mother Yashoda, Nanda Baba, and all that. So that meeting would always end up in separation. And that was not tolerable for Radharani and for Krishna also. So when they were physically separated, they were together in thoughts. And that Krishna being absolute, Srimati Radharani is also absolute. So their thoughts are non-different from the person. So similarly, Lord Ram and Sita. So yes, it's all pastime when they got separated. Apparently she was kidnapped by Ravan. So that's why it's called apparent. Because first of all, he never kidnapped real Sita. He could not even touch real Sita. He only took away Maya Sita. But real Sita went with Agnidev. And Ram was actually in separation from real Sita for 1 year. Now, in that separation, although now we have to take a trip to that place where Rishamukh mountain, where Sugriv was there and Lord Ram killed Bali, and after Bali was killed, the rainy season started. So for 4 months, Ram was in a cave. He could not go to the city of Sugriv, kingdom of Sugriv, because he had taken a vow to be in the forest. And please make sure you remain muted. Please. And he was in the cave, and in that cave, he was in so much of separation from Sita with his arrow. He had drawn pictures in the cave on the rocks, and I'm told those paintings are still available. The pictures are still there. So in 4 months, apparently somebody also, he was in separation and it was very painful. He was in complete association with Srimati Sita Devi. And similarly, Sita Devi, although now Maya Sita was in the Ashok Vatika of Ravan, and Maya Sita is also attracted to Ram. And she was in separation also from Ram. And she was in complete bliss because she was always, constantly, continuously thinking of Ram. And Gaur Govind Maharaj has actually mentioned this in one of his lectures, that why did Ram banish Mother Sita to the forest after he brought her back from Sri Lanka and when they were in Ayodhya? Now, outwardly, we all say, oh, that Dhobi put a blame and on his wife, and he said, if Ram, or only Ram can accept a wife who was away from him, I'm not going to accept this woman who was away from me for one night, and this and that. And Ram had to oblige. So that's why he banished Sita to the forest. But this is just an external reason. Ram is Maryada Purushottam Ram. He's not an ordinary king. The real reason behind this was, as Gorgovind Maharaj explained, he said because Ram and Sita had tasted that bliss of separation for 1 year, and they wanted to taste it again because the love really increases when they were in separation. So this whole pastime was enacted of banishing Sita to the forest because they wanted to taste that bliss again. So for many, many years, they were in separation. Till obviously that love and Kush scene happened in that Ashwamedh Yagya, and they captured the horse and this and that. But the real reason, as Maharaj explained, was they wanted to taste that separation, and this separation is so blissful for them, so blissful. Especially the union after separation, which is very nice, but even during separation, the love just increases millions and millions of times. And it was so blissful that when he came as Krishna, they were separated for 100 years. And when he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he already came in the mood of separation because he wanted to taste that separation of Srimati Radharani for Krishna, and Jagannathji is always in separation from Radharani. So this particular aspect, why it is not explained? Because ordinary people just cannot understand it. This sentence that Prabhupada has written here, this is a core of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, but not too many people even know this sentence that Prabhupada has written here. And they say, oh, Prabhupada just gave the basic philosophy. No, Prabhupada did not give just the basic philosophy. He gave the deepest philosophy. It's just we have to extract it. We have to be able to extract it. Actually, I myself, I never remembered reading this here. Never. Prabhupada did explain in Nectar of Devotion deep philosophy of the loving intimations between Radha and Krishna, but we don't go to those chapters actually when we study Nectar of Devotion. We only study up to 19th chapter because we all feel we are not qualified to read further, although Prabhupada has given. But here Prabhupada has mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. This is a real mode of service of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Prabhupada himself, he mentioned that I am in separation from Vrindavan. I am feeling separation from my Guru Maharaj when he was in New York. But he says, I'm never separated from them. Means in his thoughts, he was always with them. He said, I'm in New York and I'm feeling separation from Vrindavan, but I feel I'm in Vrindavan. So that consciousness is what we have to develop. Not that physically we can go to Vrindavan, which is always nice. There's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. even if we can go physically there, if we can physically live there. But if we are separated from Vrindavan, separated from the deities, and we are constantly remembering that, constantly remembering the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, the different wonderful places of Vrindavan, that is even higher remembrance. It gives higher bliss. It's just like in the material world, of course, if there's a girlfriend, boyfriend, so that is some lusty desires. But if they are thinking of each other, how to be together if they're separated, it can give some example. But a real good example is of a mother and a child, because mother's love for her child is always very pure. And Prabhupada said it comes close to the spiritual love. And if the child is somehow away from the mother, whether the child has gone for studies or child, or for whatever reason, child is away, mother will continuously think of that child, continuously. That is a mood of separation. Although she would be carrying out her household duties or any other duties, but she would be continuously thinking of the child, praying for the well-being of the child, always. Whether the child has eaten properly or not, whether the child is, hoping that he or she is not sick, and they are dressed properly, they're doing their service, their activities properly, whether studies or job or whatever it is. Mother will be constantly thinking of the child. That is separation. So now, if we multiply that feeling trillions and trillions and trillions times, because that is a mood between Ram and Sita or Radha and Krishna. That is the love they have. So that is why when we'll study that in 10th canto, when Krishna sent Uddhavji to Vrindavan to give the message to the gopis and Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maya that I will be back, Krishna gave that message. And Uddhavji came to Vrindavan. He was thinking, I'll just try to preach to them and give them this message that they should not lament. But when he came to Vrindavan and he saw the condition of, first he saw Yashoda Maya and Nanda Baba, separation from Krishna. Then he saw Gopas, and then he saw gopis, and then he saw Srimati Radharani. And then he understood why Krishna had sent him. Because Uddhav is actually a disciple of Brihaspati, and he thought he has all the knowledge. But he didn't have the knowledge of that love, the kind and the exalted love that Vrindavan Vasis have for Krishna. So when he saw that love for Krishna, he said, this is the reason Krishna sent me here. He wanted me to learn this love. And only Brajvasis can teach me that. And he was so grateful for being there. He didn't want to go back. He said, let me just take birth as what? Gulmalata. Gulmalata means the soft creepers in Vrindavan as grass. So when these gopis, they walk on me and they'll trample me with their feet, then by their mercy, I'll develop some love for Krishna. That was the mood of Uddhav Ji. He came as a very, very knowledgeable person. He said, I don't have any knowledge. So that mood we have to develop. Although 6 Goswamis had the same mood, Acharyas have, everybody has the same mood. And when we develop this mood, then everything will be revealed. So attaining and obtaining, that's not the mood of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The mood is to serve in separation. Sorry, I didn't know we'll spend the whole class on this. So anyway, we'll stop here. See anybody has any question, comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
What a coincidence, Prabhuji. We have Lord Ramchandra as the background and it touched upon Lord Ramchandra only.
Well, I knew the shlokas on Lord Ram, so I had that background.
And you rightly said, we are nothing. In fact, we are so not even in the prep grade, I would say, in devotional part. Nothing at all. फिर भी जब लास्ट ईयर जब हम जगन्नाथपुरी रथ यात्रा में जा नहीं पाए थे कितने हमको मतलब वो दुख लगता था तो वी कैन जस्ट थिंक ऑफ कि ब्रजवासी से क्या फीलिंग होती है बिकॉज़ दे आर always so much in connection with Lord.
Yep. Okay, chalo, I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai